Alright, so quick intro before the intro. I had edited this video on a trial program or whatever, and it really didn't go that well, so I couldn't do it without having a watermark. And then I remembered I already had a program that I use, and I re-downloaded that program. It's like an old program of the same program I was using, so it would take a lot for me to edit all of this, and I'm doing this for fun, so I really don't want to do all of that. So this is really just pretty uncut. Look, just pretend like you're in a voice chat with me on Discord, because it's bad uncut, and I'm really not about to edit it again. Maybe in the next one, I will figure out this editing program situation, and it'll be more polished, or maybe not, because again, this is honestly just for fun. I don't want to stress about it. We're just having a conversation. Listen in the background, have fun. Thanks for watching. Bye. Hello and welcome to my video. I am doing this video for fun. I'm gonna go ahead and review some shows that I've watched recently. So this is gonna be the first video of a couple of videos. I'm just gonna review the shows. I'm not gonna go that in super in depth, but it's just really my opinion. So take it with a grain of salt. And anything I recommend, either watch or don't watch. I do recommend watching anything. You never know if you're gonna like it. So take a plunge, try something new, all that good shit. As you can see on the screen, we're gonna be talking about the soap opera, which honestly I just found out it was a soap opera from the whole ass definition that's on the screen right now. It's like Another Life, it's a soap opera. I was like, bitch, that checks out. That's true. That makes sense. It was just something I found on Netflix. I'm pretty sure we just found random shit on Netflix that we watch because I pay a subscription, and I'm about to get the best out of the subscription, and this show was one of those I'm gonna watch this because it's here type of situations. And I started watching it, and I was immediately hooked. I watched episode 1, and they just had me at, ooh, half of the world is gone. Oh shit, is this apocalyptic? It kind of is apocalyptic, but advanced society apocalyptic. Not deserted wasteland apocalyptic. Futuristic space travel apocalyptic. If you like Star Trek or Stargate SG-1, you'll like this soap opera. But as the name states, it is a soap opera. So the freaking drama that is in this show is unmatched. As you can see by this poster, the main character is this chick. I don't know her actual name, but this woman. Her name in the show is Nico. She is always at the center of the drama, and she means well, I think. She means well, I believe, I suppose. I'm not 100% sure on that, but she means well. Episode 1, it was just oh, the world is going on, and we start off on this woman who's about to start a news broadcasting program. She does online news for 250 million subscribers, and the only reason that we know this number is because she won't shut up about it. Every time we see her, she's just me and my 250 million subscribers. I'm sis, we get it. You got people watching your show. Good for you. But she was about to start programming, and something fell from the sky. And it, right in her backyard. Woo. It was a giant ass chrysalis. So I'm gonna call it. They call it an antenna, but it just looks like crystals. And because of this crystals, people started to freak out. Because it was the first interaction with other alien species or extraterrestrials. I don't want to get canceled. Okay, so freaking aliens was the first contact, but it didn't do nothing. It was just there, like on Earth, not moving at all. Like it just kind of glow every so often, and so they had scientists trying to figure out how to communicate with it, doing all sorts of things. And this is where Nico's husband comes in. Her husband, which is this guy over here. This Eric with a K. It's Eric with a K. We see. So Eric with a K is a scientist, and he's worked 6 months on trying to understand this antenna, and he keeps quote unquote getting closer, but not really. Like nothing has happened. He's not figuring anything out, and because of that, we come to find out that Nico is a semi-retired space explorer captain. So she's like a commander for the evolution of NASA. Yeah, like military space program. So she's a commander, but she's like semi-retired since the first. She was part of one of the first extra galaxy ships explorations. Yeah, I was looking for that word. Galaxy explorations or whatever. And while she was there, we find this out throughout the show, but it's kind of like while she was there, they hit some eruption on some planet, and she had to make a split-second decision of saving some people so that like people can actually return, or just losing the whole crew. So she pressed an emergency exit button, and it cut off the ship in half, and half of the crew died, and her half were alive. She did that under pressure, but she feels really guilty about it because one, her then love of her life was on the other side, and he, he's SO'd, he dead. And she just feels weighed down by the guilt of killing those people. But at the same time, I'm just like, sis, like, if you didn't press that button, you would be dead too. We wouldn't even be at this point, because you'd be gone. But, so, literally throughout the whole show, she's suffering with this immeasurable guilt, which is why she didn't want to be part of the space program anymore, and like she settled down and was just like a recruit and helped people train and shit like that. And she fell in love with old scientist Eric over here, and they have a daughter together who's like 8 or about to turn 8. And we find out that she's like commander, and that the military called her back to be the commander of the new ship that they have. SSS some shit. I don't know. I don't remember the name of this ship. SSS something. But it's a big ass ship. And they want her to do the mission of taking the ship and going to the home planet of the aliens, which they pinpointed through like satellite signals and shit, that matches the wavelength of the crystal that landed on Earth. And so she's supposed to take the crew and go out there, make contact with them, and see what the heck that they want. Like, what you want, and that you're not talking to us. Like, you just chilling here rent free and shit. And she's supposed to figure that out. And she had a whole dilemma of like, should I go and do this for humanity, or should I stay and let my protege handle it instead? I don't want to leave my daughter and shit like that. But she ultimately decided to go. So I don't really know why she had like this 2-minute deliberation. It wasn't that deep because it didn't really show her deciding to go. It just kind of like her husband came home with like, oh my God, science talk. And she was just like, I gotta go to the ship. And he's like, do you have to? And she's just like, but the planet. And he's like, but our family. And she said, but the planet, like one more time. And she dipped. She done dipped. Then they went into like forced sleep, which they call soma sleep in the show, which apparently is like a huge ass important information that should always be in the back of your mind, because it wasn't in the back of my mind until it was. So she gets on the ship, and then they're supposed to be asleep for like 6 months. But a month in, she gets woken up by the ship's AI programming. This man over here, William. William is a doll. I love William. William's the best. William's the best character on this whole show. Don't fight me on that. I'm not going to argue with you. It's William. William's the best. So William wakes her up. And he's like, problem. We're like, we went off course. I'm sitting here thinking, why is technology still messing with us so far into the future? What do you mean you went off course? How do you go off course? Especially when I love William, but you're the AI programming controlling the ship, William, while everybody's asleep. How did you make a wrong turn at Saturn? Like, it's not adding up for me, but it is what it is. That's what happened. They made a wrong turn in light speed. Oh, well. So then she's like, well, I don't know how we're going to get out of this. And they're coming up with plans and shit like that. And they're by this, like, really blue planet. This planet will be the crux, like, of this show. They really barely move from this planet. And this show has 2 seasons. Like, they barely move from this planet. So many times to stay there. So she sees it, and she's coming up with plans or whatever. And she's like, go wake up the first crewmates. Because there's, like, a whole bunch of people on the ship. And they're, like, separated in squads. Like, team number 1, where she's the captain and shit. And she has her own people, like, 2 engineers, a vice captain, scientists, all this shit, medical experts, biotech experts. They're all one crew, but they have multiple of this crew just in case somebody can't go on. They'll always have a replacement for someone to take care of their specialized field. And so she woke up the first crew. And in the first crew, her vice captain is her protege, whom is Ian. I don't know. This name has irked me for so long. I think it's Ian, but something in my mind just keeps telling me to say Ian. And I know it's wrong. I feel like it's wrong, but it sounds right. I don't know. Ian, whatever. He, who, as soon as I saw him, I was like, oh shit, he's gonna be in the show. That's freaking awesome. I love this guy. You know, if you watch Teen Wolf, you get it. I was like, yay. And he's her vice captain. And, you know, she's like, brainstorm a way for us to get out of here so we can propel ourselves back on course. And so they came up with a plan to slingshot the ship with the magnetic force of the planet that they're at and do a full orbit of it and take off into the right direction. This is what they were going to do. They started to do it. But as they were gonna do it, the ship couldn't handle the pressure and it was about to fall apart. And I'm just like, this is a pretty rickety ass ship that you're using for light speed travel. Like, y'all should really plan for these type of occurrences. But Nico's like, shut down the operation. Vice Captain Iani over here is like, no, we can do it. I've been the captain of the ship. Like, I know what it can handle. It can definitely make it. Like, he's like that friend who's like, their car is on E, and you're like, you should probably go get some gas. And they're like, nah, don't worry about it. That don't mean nothing. I know how much I can actually drive. And then you end up stranded on the highway. That's him. That's the logistics of what he was trying to say. Nico was having none of it. She's like, I'm commander, shut the fuck up. I asked for your opinion, not your input. And she says she halted that down. Told William to stop it. All the way stopping, like, we need to come up with a new idea to get moving. And then freaking they're coming up with an idea. One of the engineers said, okay, so we have like a space force field that activates when we're being attacked to protect the ship. If we use this force field around the ship, it should be able to protect us while we slingshot around the planet, and we'll be okay. And so he brings this idea to Nico with the engineer, like, we solved all the issues, and da-da-da-da-da. And they go and, you know, they give her the plan, and she's like, oh, wow, that's a really good idea. And she asks William to calculate the probability of failure. And William's like, we probably don't have enough energy to hold the propellers to slingshot us around the fucking planet and keep up the space force field. And Nico's like, okay, so what's the probability of failure? And William's like, 11%. And she's like, oh, that's too much. That's too much of a fucking percentage. Which, honestly, I agree. 11% is a chunk of a number to be risking your fucking life on. And then, when she said that, she's like, nah, we need to come up with another plan. And Iani over here is just like, no, you need to listen to me. You need to listen to me. Like, this plan is totally gonna work. Like, I believe in it. You have to take some risks to get rewards and shit like that. And she's like, no, in discussion, like, I'm not gonna let anybody die because, like I said earlier, she is weighed down by the guilt of the people that she killed. Although in an emergency, she's weighed down by that guilt. So she doesn't want anybody to die on this expedition. I'm gonna tell you right off the bat that was a failure. But she tried. She means well. Maybe. I don't know. And so she's like, nah. And then the rest of the crew, who technically have been working with Iani, the vice captain, for like, that was his crew for a while. They're like, oh my god, she's such a bitch. I can't believe why she's such a wuss. Like, she's not taking this risk. If she knew she didn't want to take risks to save the planet, why did she even decide to go on this mission? She should have just stayed home with her kids. Like, they talking mad shit. And I'm just like, I'm pretty sure it's because she's the most experienced. Like, y'all really don't look like y'all know what y'all doing. Except in your specific field. Like, I'm pretty sure she's the commander for a reason. Y'all need to chill. And then, freaking Iani over here, he's just like, she's disrespecting my authority. You don't have any fucking authority. You are currently the vice fucking captain. Stay in the place. But he didn't want to. He didn't want to stay in his place. So he enacted a goddamn mutiny. He enacted a mutiny against Nico. And he got his old crewmen to be like, vote. We gonna vote. So they voted her off of command. And she was like, oh, nah. Nico can fight. It was 1, 2, 3, like, it was him. Who else? He was in that room. She wasn't there. She was in that room. I was like, they don't only show the important people. There was like 5 people in that room, including Iani. And Nico was beating dog shit out of these people. She was just like, fight, 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 fight. But my problem with Nico is that she could fight, but her situational awareness is terrible. She needs to work on that, because as she was beating these people, like, she was like punching, kicking, dodging, all this shit. She turned her back on the one person that technically mattered, which was Iani's trifling ass. He was obviously the strongest person there. So she turned her back on him while fighting the other ones. And then he injected her with like liquid chloroform. Well, wait, chloroform is liquid, right? Yeah, it's definitely liquid. It's not a gas. He injected her with chloroform. She went night-night. She got knocked the fuck out. And they put her back into her Soma cabin. And so now she's in the Soma cabin. And he's like, I'm now the commander. Let me do my plans. And William's like, nah, I don't listen to you. I listen to Nico. And then this guy became real racist against AIs. But William's kind of black. So I was just kind of like, I don't like your tone. But yeah, he did all that. And then William was like, and then he got everyone to vote and said, wasn't Nico acting erratic? Wasn't she acting a little crazy? This, that, and the third, so that people would agree with him. And they all kind of agreed with him, even though they kind of didn't have a choice because you already did the fucking mutiny. It's not like you had a vote. You just took the people that listened to you anyway and told them she's not fit. And, did all that. But then he's like, time to enact the plan. So they started enacting the plan. And I'm just like, well, I guess if this works, sure. But as they're going around the fucking planet with the spaceship, with the force field, they don't have enough power to take off because of the fucking force field. So he's like, it's okay, we'll just do one more run around the planet and we'll be able to do it. So they're doing another run. And the space, what is English and why can't I speak it? The force field stops working and one of their busters or whatever is also running out of energy. And they're like, we can't get away from the planet. And things start to break down. The ship is getting kind of fucked. It is just shaking all to shit. Malfunctions are popping up everywhere. And he's just standing there talking about, no, this should work. Why don't you do something to handle the freaking situation instead of just standing there like a dumbass, not doing anything? I thought you wanted to be the captain now. Like, idiot. And so everything's falling apart. And then they're just like, this man can't do nothing. And one of the crew members ran to Nico's ship and forcibly woke her up. And they're like, Nico, we need you. Like, the ship is falling apart. I am so petty. I tell you what, like, I don't care about anything. Had this been me and you mutinied against me, drugged me, and put me into a Soma cabin, and then came to me after the plan that I clearly told you was too risky actually turned out to be that risky, and we're all leaning towards death, we dying together. I would have gone to the cafeteria, made myself like a good meal, and just been like, that's a damn shame. Guess you should have listened to me. I guess we'll mutiny in hell, bitch. Like, what the fuck? I could never. But yeah. She got up. She was like, oh shit. Commander boots on. She like pulled up her pants and was just like, time to work. She just handed out orders, stabilized the ship, kind of drifted off, got away from the planet by driving the ship manually, because there is a manual overhaul control and she knows how to drive it. Which, by the way, freaking Iani over here, sir, I thought you were a commander. This is why they didn't trust you to handle the freaking mission, because shit like this. Why did you take up the manual command and like drive that shit away from the planet? Oh no, you're just gonna be frozen in the middle of the room after fucking everybody. So she saves everybody, and then she straight up decks Iani and gets him into a room like, I'm gonna handle you later, how you just fucked us. So the ship is just damaged everywhere. And because it's damaged, like they don't have enough energy to forcibly put somebody to sleep, like they had done to her before he fucked the ship. So they're like, they have to keep him alive, and it's better to have more hands on deck. So she was just like, you know what, I'm definitely gonna deal with him, but right now we are in an emergency. So she puts away like the fuck shit, and she's like, I'm just gonna work with you so we can get the ship back on track, so we can do the mission and then get back home. So everything's very tense because she's really not fucking with these people. She walked into the room and she's just like, look here, I'm not here to be your friend. I'm not here to be your mama. I'm only here to be your commander. I don't care if you don't like me, because I don't like y'all either, but I'm gonna need you to listen to me. That's it. That's all. And she tried to be friends with them at the beginning, and I understand why her like things switched up. I would not want to be close with none of y'all after that. None of y'all. Like, keep that to yourself. And so she's fixing, I guess she's sub-majored in mechanics. She's fixing up the boiler room, and everybody's working in teams, and she's working with Iani. And Iani over here is like, oh man, I can't believe you actually like forgave me. I'm like, she did not forgive you, sir. She's just working with you because she has no choice. And then he's spewing bullshit, and I'm like, what are you trying to do? And then he picks up a knife, and I'm like, are you gonna murder her? What the fuck? Like, because she's literally the commander of the ship, you just want to straight up murder? And, you know, she's not paying attention to him. She's trying to fix up this shit so she could get out of the room and continue fixing the ship like a commander would do. Like, no shit, they don't trust you to run the ship, idiot. So then he's walking up on her with a fucking knife, and she's like, what the fuck? She turns around because she's like, nah, that's suspicious. Like, that's suspicious. And she turns around, she sees the knife, and he's like, are you fucking kidding me? And he goes to stab her, and she roundhouse kicks him, and he flies into the wall of the ship. Unfortunately, or fortunately, there was exposed electricity on the wall of the ship, so he got electrocuted to death. And old Iani died. As a soap opera, that was the first episode. And it just ended with his death. And I was just like, not for nothing, you deserve it. But at the same time, I kind of wish they didn't make you that character. You sweet, sweet man. But at least I got to see you before you fucked up so much. So, he gone. He dead. After that, though, because he's dead, she needed a vice captain, and so she woke up a vice captain. This is the first episode. Honestly, it definitely hooked me. It got me intrigued. Had me out here just like, wow. That's crazy. They woke up some chick named Cass to be the vice captain. Long story short, the rest of the season was just like mishap after mishap. They almost got exterminated by like an alien virus that this guy, who's the biotech engineer, mistakenly brought on from a dwarf planet that they found that had oxygen in the rocks. And they needed to harvest it to put oxygen in the ship. It was a whole lot of shit. And it just kept de-escalating and escalating and de-escalating. And then, at a certain point, Nico over here. Nico. She misses her husband, and everybody was like hopped up on alien drugs that this guy, while being controlled by one of the aliens that put that freaking crystal on Earth, drugged everybody so that he could find a way to destroy the ship, because he found out while being controlled by the alien that this ship has the power to destroy a planet. And so he wants to destroy the ship because he doesn't want the ship to be a threat to all his alien brethren. Yeah. Epic fight scenes, though. But while everyone was hopped up on drugs, everyone became, like, sexually active. People just... the whole engineer squad, like, had an orgy. They had an orgy. Like, this guy and the medical tech lady, they did it. And then she's out here missing her husband. And William is very intelligent AI. He's one that unlocked emotions and shit, because that's how his creator programmed him. So he's like getting in tune with emotions. So he fell in love with Nico. Of all the options, I guess you could have done better. But he fell in love with Nico, and she, being her, I guess, takes up his offer, and he injects himself into her dream from her soma thing, and then takes on the form of her husband and sleeps with her in virtual reality. And then after she did that, she was just kind of like, okay, you're done. And just was like, oh, thanks for, like, getting my rocks off, I guess. And broke up with him, but they weren't even together. But he can't handle that type of emotion. It was too much for pretty much an emotional child. So he broke. And I'm just like, I don't even know why you would go with him, Nico, because he runs the ship. Like, why would you mess with his psyche like this? That's no bueno. You know, it's not great. So he's losing his mind. And because he's losing his mind, freaking Sasha over here, while being controlled, takes the opportunity to mess with him, get him to lock himself away, and takes control of the ship. And I'm just like, wow, y'all really getting taken out by Sasha? Sasha of all people? Like, Sasha was really out here decking people. And they're all trained. Like, they're all trained in combat. Like, wait. He was the only person not trained in combat. And I'm like, I don't care if, like, a spinal alien took you over. He's not gonna magically get super strength. He didn't get super strength. Y'all been training. I don't understand how he really took over this ship like this before y'all realized. That's crazy to me. I just don't get it. Like, this show is one of the shows, it's very interesting, but, like, it lacks a lot of sense. There's many times when you're just like, sense is not here. Sense has left the building. Sense will not be back. Ever. And Sense never comes back. So he takes over the ship. And then she evacuates her teammates and is just like, take the shuttle, you know, try to find shelter while I try to fix this. And she's going out of her mind, trying to find William. She finds William inside of she goes into summer sleep and finds him inside of the neural network of the ship. And he's just looking at a dreary beach at what I think is like the edge of Seattle, like in a forest. It's just a lake. It's just real sad. I get it. He's upset, but damn, the imagery. And she's just like, no, I'm sorry. I can't believe I did this to you. Then why'd you do it at all, Nico? And so she apologizes and all this shit. And she was sincere, I guess. I still don't know. She was sincere. And then she wakes up from soma sleep because Sasha over here found her. And he was gonna come at her like a here's Johnny from The Shining situation, and was just about to just hack her head off with the axe. And she rolls out the way because again she has combat training. And then she boxed him a bit, and he loses consciousness. Here's where you see the lack of sense that is prevalent in the show. Because he comes at her with an axe, she fights him off while he's wielding an axe, unarms him of his axe, proceeds to knock him out. Then, instead of picking up the axe and finishing the job, she leaves the axe and runs out of the room while he is, at this moment in time, stunned. Like, if you are playing Mortal Kombat and you stun your enemy, this is the time where you finish him, not run from the room and distance yourself without the weapon that he was gonna use against you. I was just like, Nico, just say you want to die and move on. Like, at this point, you looking for death, because that don't make no damn sense. You could have just picked up that axe and bada boom, bada bing, it's over. Chop his head off. He's already controlled. Like, what? Like, we don't need him here. Just one swift chop, and all your problems would have gone away. But no, she running, and she runs to, like, the control deck, and is trying to, I don't know what she's trying to do, some commander shit. And then, old dude, like, runs up on her, and he catches up with her. And he is also a person who left the axe behind. And I'm just sitting here like, it's a weapon. Why were you leaving the axe? Damn. Work smarter, not harder. And so he run after her, and they start fighting. And mind you, she was the same person not 2 minutes ago who fought him off when he was literally wielding an axe against her. But all of a sudden, all of her martial arts, all her combat training went out the fucking window. Like, she got overpowered by freaking Sasha. She just beat his ass to get overpowered 2 minutes later, and he's out here choking the shit out of her. And I'm just like, if you die here, like, you deserve it, because that's dumb. Like, so many opportunities. How? Like, how? Ma'am. Man, so she's about to freaking die. And then William pops up, and he somehow gets the frequency of the thing that's in Sasha's mind, and he short circuits him. So he saves Nico's life. And she's like, oh my god, thank you, William. And William's like, I didn't do it for you. Like, broads off into the distance, I guess. So, yeah. And then, they're like, oh no, we don't have power to move the ship. And that's when William's like, oh, when I was, like, short-circuiting the blah, blah, blah alien in his mind, we found out that it has, like, a mini nuclear plant that's keeping that shit moving, because it's, like, technically a nanobot or whatever, and it's, like, giving itself self-sufficient energy. So they literally jack the ship's energy cord into the back of Sasha's neck to connect with the alien at, like just infinite source of power. Yeah. So it powers the ship, and I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know about that one, but it happened. That's how they did it. And so they power ship, everybody gets back on the ship. Bada bing, bada boom. They put Sasha into, like, a room. They're like, we're going to experiment on him. Sasha's not having none of that. He's just like, kill me, please. I don't want to be here. So he orchestrates like a whole ruse and tries to kill the medical chick. She's not very memorable. She's kind of a bitch. Tries to kill her, and they're like, and he tells him, you either shoot me or she dies. And so he shoots him, and Sasha dies. We're anticlimactic. A lot of people have died. So much people have died, honestly. Like, every time they kill one or two people, they always just bring one or two people out of sleep to take over the role that has been lost. I'm just like, I guess. But yet, Nico's still going strong. She's still going strong, yo. And then, after all that, they somehow make it to the planet where the signal is coming from that matches the signal from Earth, or from the Crystal Tower. Turns out, it wasn't who they were looking for. It was just another Crystal Tower. Apparently, these crystal towers are scattered through the universe on multiple different planets because this alien race, which we later find out are called the Arcadians, the Arcada, are bent on universal domination. And so they send out these crystals that are full of nanobots that can attach themselves to people's minds and take them over. If you've ever seen or read The Host from Stephenie Meyer, it's pretty much that concept of aliens connecting to their, like, cerebral cortex or whatever and taking over their movements and their mind. The only difference is that they just don't erase them completely, but they do force them to do what they want. And so they found out, like, they're hella dangerous. Oh no, if they're already on your planet, it's like too late. And so I'm like, well, shit, too bad we didn't know that. While Nico and them are finding out all this information, Eric, back on Earth, has finally figured out a way to talk to the aliens through the use of Mozart. And then through the use of color decodation. And then he goes in there into the spaceship to talk to them. But, you know, he saved his daughter, or he left because of his daughter, and somebody else went in there and they got implanted with the little freaking alien thing. And they're like, you gotta listen to me because I'm the envoy for the aliens. Nah, she's just trying to turn everybody to become alien slaves. So, further on, we get on to like season 2. Season 1 was just like introduction at this point. After we found out, oh no, they're hella dangerous, we're on to season 2. And so they're like, oh no, what do we do? And they figured out the planet that they were on was not the right planet. And then, well, this is the last episode of season 1. Like, they found out the planet, it wasn't the right planet. And after they figured it out, they're like, oh, do you want our help? Blah, 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 blah. Because there was like a robot that was translating for Nico and the aliens that lived on that planet. So they charged up their spaceship planet destroyer beam and just destroyed the crystal that was on that planet. And I'm just like, oh wow, that's pretty fucking easy. Like, do we even have to go see them on their planet to fix this issue? Let's just blow that bitch up. And then while they're leaving, they see the aliens that dropped like the crystal. They see the ships. They see 4 of them. They see 4 Arcadian ships like fucking pop into light speed into where they're at, and they're like, what the fuck? Nico's like, what are they doing here? And then she's like, oh no. And so she turns the ship around from the planet that they just left. And the Arcadian ships fucking run up to this planet and they blow that bitch up. So all the aliens that was on that bitch is dead. And Nico was like, oh my god, stuck in shock. And I'm like, bitch, you was not out of the radius of this explosion. This is not the time to be surprised. And that's how they ended season 1. And then next season, she's still out here being surprised. I'm like, girl, if you don't move. She finally figured out, oh no, we can die. She started moving. The explosion still hit them though. And they end up in a rock field. And somehow maneuver their way out of the rock field. Was a whole lot of. And then they found like an inhabitable island, Earth that, like an inhabitable Earth that reminded them of Earth. They went there and they took samples and everything seemed alright. So they woke up the colonists, which they had colonists to terraform a planet if need be, if they find something suitable where they can like move to. And everything was alright. They had like a meeting with the Arcadians and where they're like, we're just trying to negotiate something. And so Nico goes into their ship. By the way, they go into their ship after the aliens technically kind of killed that engineer that had the orgy with the other engineer. He's one of the engineers, Oliver. And she's the other engineer, the head engineer, August. Turns out she got pregnant by one of the 2 engineers she had sex with during that orgy. She doesn't know who. She's just like, one of you's gonna be a dad. And then, while pregnant, yet again a lacking of sense here. While pregnant, the ship needed repairs on the outside. Her and Oliver went outside to fix the ship. And I'm just sitting here like, everybody on this ship knows she's pregnant, right? I know y'all know she's pregnant. Why would y'all tell her to go outside to fix the ship? I know she's an engineer, but still, there's 3. 2 of the engineers are men. How about we get those 2 guy engineers to go fix the fucking ship outside? Why was she the one doing it? Okay, so we got that out of the way. She was the one doing that. And the aliens popped up because they were running away from the alien ships that blew up the planet. They found them. And then they blew up one of their engines. And the backlash of the beam of blowing up the engine fucking laser beamed these 2 engineers on the outside plus her baby. So 2.5 people. Well, 2.5 people died. Her child, and Oliver. While the other engineer's just inside crying and shit. And I'm just like, I guess. Then Nico goes to have a conversation with these aliens. Let's just say negotiations are not going well. They went from quote-unquote negotiating to threatening her with her daughter's life to trying to forcibly take her over with one of the freaking nanobots. And she fights her way out, but like her ship is parked in their ship. And then they had woken somebody up to be Cass's vice captain while she was captain while Nico was away. And then Cass was like, I can't just leave Nico there. So she moonwalked, non-gravity flew to their alien ship to save Nico. And while they're doing that, Daniel, I think that's his name, Daniel used the ship. It's like, if they're not back in this amount of time, we're leaving. And so when Cass gets to Nico and they're like, oh, we just have to get out, the ship just leaves. And then while they're leaving, the alien ship is just upset that Nico won't, bow down or whatever. And they start chasing after Daniel and the crew through light speed. But then they all get kicked out of Lightspeed through a magnetic UV ray intensive shockwave coming from that one planet that we were at all the way back in episode 1, season 1. Just call that planet Delta at this point. That's what they call it. And apparently this magnetic ultra V rays was hurting their ship, but not that bad. But the ship that had Nico in it that was getting hurt, it was getting destroyed by the UV magnetic rays. And they figured out that that is the aliens' weakness. It destroys both their ships and themselves. And Nico's like, well, that's fucking tragic. Guess y'all gonna die. That's crazy. And then the ship is trying to make a deal with her, and they're like, look, if you save us, we'll owe you a favor, and we'll leave Earth alone, we swear. I don't trust it. But Nico made that deal. And she went back to the ship with Cass, tells them about the deal, so we just have to find out a way to save them, and we'll be fine. And they were gonna save them. They're gonna pull them away from the problem with the force field around them. But then somebody sabotaged the force field, and they died. So Nico's like, who the fuck? And it was one of the crew members. Or so they thought, until they did diagnosis and found out that William had like a corrupt file. And the corrupt file was another AI called George. And then George came out with some bullshit talking about, William's defective. And he wasn't supposed to be the AI of this ship. So it's really just me who's supposed to be the AI of this ship. And he gets William out of the way, and turns out it was George who had stopped them from saving the Arcadian ship. It was a wild ride, really. Honestly, this show stays a wild ride throughout the whole thing. Because after that, pretty much, it was just trying to survive. Emergency after emergency keeps hitting them, until one time they just have to separate the crew, because they found the light speed portals or ultra speed portals that the Arcadians use to get from planet to planet. And so they decided to use it to get back to Earth's orbit quicker. But Nico was like, because there's this bullshit failsafe on the ship that when they have go home protocol, they separate the ship into 3 parts, which is so dumb, because why is there not an evacuation sequence to get everybody to the ship that's about to go home? And they're trying to go home so they can warn Earth about the fucked up shit the Arcadians have been doing. But then the ship enters go home protocol, and people are being splintered apart. And so Nico said, I'll handle it, because she definitely has a death wish. No one can tell me otherwise. Throughout this whole show, I swear she's wanted to die more than a handful of times. And I'm just and she's like, I'll stay on the ship and you guys go and warn them and shit like that. And then after everybody's gone, she don't have enough power to actually go back through light speed. And then, so the only 2 people that was left on the ship was her and Daniel. And the only reason that Daniel was left on the ship is because Daniel had used his authority to get one of the engineers to torture William's AI daughter that he created so that he can get over Nico breaking his heart. Yeah. Twists and turns, I tell you. And so they made it to Saturn or whatnot. And then Nico was like, I'm going to fashion a sail. A propeller, if you will. It's, Ship. That's Cass, by the way. Images. No. Look, they made a whole ass propeller. Oh, this is the shit. They made a whole ass propeller. Yeah, they made sails like this, but like the unfurling kinds on the back of the ship, so that it can literally be propelled forward. So that it can be propelled forward. And so they doing all this. It's just her and Daniel slowly losing their minds while trying to get back to Earth somehow, some way, some miracle, or hoping that those people would like warp speed back and come save them. While they were doing that, all this, they got kidnapped by another alien race and then tortured, which is kind of ironic since Daniel literally tortured William's AI daughter. But you know, karma works in mysterious ways. So the torture, they were just getting killed and harvested for organs. And apparently this alien race had a rejuvenating serum that after they tortured you and took your organs, it just dipped you back in the serum and you're like, all your shit grow back and you're fine. It was fucked up. But Nico somehow main protagonist her way out of this dilemma and defeated the alien running the ship, and then they hijacked the ship and they're like, no, we gotta go to the actual planet where the people is from. They get to the actual planet and come to find out that the Arcadians that they're fighting are nothing but extremely advanced AI that this civilization created as a way to show their power and standing. It was a ritual of honor to be implanted with an Arcadian AI in this civilization since they created it. And then after we done found that out, we found out that everybody that created the Arcadian tech and this race of aliens are dead. Wonderful. And then Nico, yet again on her I'm trying to die but somehow still living kick, says, okay, I want to get back to Earth, so what we're going to do is contact the Arcadians and then make a deal with them so that they can teleport us back to Earth, even if I have to have like something in my mind. Just know I'm doing it for us and shit like that. And I found it dumb. I just find that real stupid. That's what she wanted to do. So she's having like the whole last discussion with those people, and then her people, her husband and William and other people were setting up the Arcadian representation that was taken over by an alien in his mind or whatever. They're fighting him in the real world while he talks to Nico in the pretty much a hard drive, but like in the spatial world. And she runs out. She gets back to Earth somehow. And then they started fighting. They started fighting the Arcadians by blowing up two scout ships that they sent. But after they blew that up, they found out that their planet-destroying beam and whatnot, or the Arcadian like ultra UV ray beam to kill Arcadians, it needs a 30 minutes charge up between shots, and the Arcadians sent like 50, not even 50, like thousands actually, like hundreds to thousands of ships to surround Earth completely and threaten them and saying like, look, you either follow our demands or we blow up your planet. And their demand was to, one, destroy the ship that has the power to destroy them, and two, to make every human get implanted with an Arcadian AI. And the president and the diplomatic advisor were all considerate, and Nico's like, stop fucking with me, like, let me do my job, like, this is crazy, we're not gonna do that, we're gonna fight back, this, that, and third. And then she makes it back to the ship just for them to figure out that the fact that the Arcadians are literally just AI. So they're like, can't we just come up with a malware virus to kill them from within? And so that's what they did. They created a malware virus to kill them from within. Because then they're like, how are we gonna get it in there though? Then they found a floating Arcadian in space and saved the Arcadian and said, we will let you use someone's body as host and take you back to your people if you then leave Earth alone. And the guy was like, yeah. But they found out that they have to inject the virus on the person that he's going to control. And the only way they can inject this virus is, remember what I said earlier, through the Soma freaking hard drive that's in everybody's spine that they can inject the virus into, that will then corrupt the Arcadian gas field. And so it was supposed to be Cass that takes on this job, but Nico, yet again with her, I will die. I'ma die one of these days. It might as well be today ass missions. Goes into the room and lets old Arcadian soul dude like take her, and then her husband's like, oh my god, no, why do you do this? And I'm just like, I don't know, dude, I don't know why she does this. I don't know. She definitely trying to die. Like that's just that on that. That's what I see. She trying to die. And then he goes in with the virus that can be transmitted via Bluetooth, talks to her, injects her with the virus, and then they take them to the Arcadian ship. And they get into the Arcadian ship, they start talking. Guy leaves her body, and she's like, you'll leave Earth alone now, right? And they're like, who the hell do you think we are? Are you that dumb? And then they start beating the shit out of Nico and Cass, and they're like, oh my god. And then it took like 10 to 15 to 20 minutes because that alien should not have that long of a monologue. But yeah, it took that long for the virus to take effect. And they pretty much just blew up all the Arcadians. Like they destroyed them from within, since they're like hive mind and of one body through multiple spaceships. So they just kind of blew up everything with this virus, with this malware. And then after that, like, Nico had like this whole ending monologue where she's just like, okay, we discovered that there's like life on Earth, like outside of Earth, and all we had to do was say hello, konnichiwa, blah 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 blah, all this shit. And then like that's the end credits. That was the end of season 2. And I tell you what, the way this show ended, it just made me feel like I just watched, how many episodes is this show? I don't even know. 20? I think it's 20. It's a 6% on runs. I did not know that. But 20 episodes of a very long movie. So like at the end of the day, like, do I recommend this movie? I call it a movie. Do I recommend this show? If you just like drama and you like sci-fi, I recommend the show. It is good for what it is. And it is a show that will make absolutely no sense. But in the span of making no sense, you get some really good scenes. You get some really interesting personalities. But you also get some really redundant scenes. And some really dumb personalities. Like, it's a mixture of like the Days of Our Lives and Stardate SG-1. It's just that mashed together into sci-fi space